Oh, I'm nervous.
You got this, lady. You got this. Okay, we're on. So, this is Dr. Jen again from Well Woman MD. And today I have the lovely, wonderful Coach Emma, who you guys have met if you have listened to my podcast episode. Her and I talked a lot about PCOS and the right exercise plan for PCOS and trying to basically figure out, I mean, the gist of it is figuring out what works for you. That's sort of the theme. But today I wanted to expand upon that. And Emma's going to talk a lot about mindset, like how mindset has to do with, I hate the word exercise, so movement.
I use movement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how mindset really plays into your movement routine, how it helps amplify the results you want, how it helps you set goals, like really how does it have to do with movement? So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
So this is Coach Emma. She is the CEO and founder of Mind Motion PCOS, a certified personal trainer and mindset coach, and just an all-around badass woman who knows everything. And we're so lucky to have you chat with us today about mindset and how important this is for our routine for movement. So welcome.
I'm really excited to talk about it, and I've got some great points to talk about. So thank you.
Yes. So mindset is kind of a, you hear about this all the time, and I'm just going to sort of throw this out there and then you do your thing. I know you have some points you want to present and talk, and I apologize again for not having the ability to share the screen.
That's all right. No
We can also put it, if you have in that PDF, I could just make a link and we'll put it in the chat and people can just link over to that PDF too.
Yeah.
But yeah, mindset is kind of something we see all over Facebook, all over Instagram. Like everybody wants the right mindset, but it's so much more complicated and so much more depth to it than just saying the word mindset, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I would love to hear from you on how it really has to do with movement. And then especially for PCOS, like why is it so important that we take into account mindset?
Yeah. Well, first I wanted to just kind of address like the positives that movement plays in PCOS, because I think that'll kind of help people understand why mindset's important, because we need to create a balance, because it can be negative. And if our mindset isn't right, then it can easily become negative for us. Like it can have negative impacts on our PCOS. So like a big positive, these are the big positives, like increased insulin sensitivity, because you're growing your muscles, you're getting them more sensitized to insulin. Sorry, my cat has decided to play with his mouse right now. Stress reduction, reduces risk of depression, increases your metabolism, it lowers your testosterone levels. There was a study of a 16-week training program with women who had PCOS, and they showed that after 16 weeks of a resistance training program, their testosterone had significantly decreased. So that's a huge, that's like a milestone for PCOS studies as well, to understand how resistance training plays into it. And then also it can strengthen your bones, because you're constantly putting pressure on the bones. They have to build and become stronger to hold the weight that you are constantly putting on it every day, or whatever your program is prescribing you to do. But there are also ways that it can easily become negative. And that's like doing it too much, because you can stress your body out too much. And that means that you will end up, all the positive things I just listed, all go to the opposite side. You get decreased insulin sensitivity, your stress goes up, you are depressed. You've also got decreased metabolism, like all of it, your testosterone skyrockets. So you want to make sure you're not doing it too much, but you also want to make sure you're not doing it too little, because both ways you can negatively impact your PCOS. So if you're doing it like once a day or once a week, it's not going to do too much. Even twice a week is good if you want to start a habit, but you want to push it eventually to be more. And then also choosing the wrong type of movement for you. If you're choosing weightlifting and you hate it, don't do it. If you're choosing something that really bores you, or you are embarrassed doing it, like Zumba, if that's embarrassing for you, don't force yourself to go. There are other ways to train resistance wise, and to also have exercise in your life or movement in your life without hating it so much. And that's a really, like, knowing that you hate it is a good way to be like, I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So does that kind of, well, so feeding, that kind of feeds into what we're going to talk about, which is mindset.
Well, you just mentioned real quick what resistance training is, because I think some people may not know. When we say exercise, I think most people think you just go for a run. And I think sometimes it's confusing, the word resistance training versus like what is HIIT training, resistance training, all that kind of different definitions.
Yeah, well, resistance training is basically anything weight bearing. It can be with dumbbells, machines, anything like that. Or you can be doing yoga where you're holding positions for a long time. It can be body weight training, anything like that, where you have to push against a resistance in some sort of way. Then you've got running. Cardio is a different type of exercise that's not resistance training, unless you've got weights on your wrists, or you're dragging something behind you that's tied around your waist. Like that can equal resistance training. But it still does have good effects on your PCOS, as long as you're not doing it too much. The same thing with HIIT. That's basically doing a circuit of exercises for a timed amount of time, giving yourself minimal rest in between each exercise. And then, that's also really great for PCOS. Again, not something you want to do a whole lot. I know there's often this myth that HIIT is really bad for PCOS, and it is if you do it every day, or if you do it 3 days a week. But if you do it once or twice a week, you are golden. It's going to be doing wonders for your PCOS, unless you hate it.
Unless you hate it or you push yourself too hard.
Exactly.
During that training workout, like,
yeah,
got to listen to whatever happens in the middle of it,
Right. Yeah. You don't want to be pushing yourself to the point that you can't breathe, like I tend to do in my workouts.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore, but yeah. So yeah, it's important to pace yourself throughout your movement sessions, for sure. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it was, for some people, I think the different types of movements are really hard to understand, especially because you hear just HIIT's bad, this is bad. And it's like, well, it's in the context of resistance can be a lot of things. It could be lifting weights, kettlebells, but it can also be Pilates. There's a very different level of, of your heart rate going up in Pilates generally than if you're, killing yourself with kettlebells. It can be very different.
Pilates is a great way of great resistance training for PCOS, because it's slow, it's controlled, but you're still getting in that resistance training that's going to have all those positive benefits, for sure. So there's a big question on how to keep exercise and movement positive for your PCOS and positive for your life. You want to choose exercise that's right for you, which we've said. Choose something you enjoy. If you end up finding exercise that you can't stand it, just don't do it. And it's also helpful to change the language around movement. Like we've changed it there. I'll probably be interchanging it between exercise and movement, but if you change your language around something, it can often reframe in your mind how it's going to benefit you, and also it's going to get rid of the old ways that you all thought about it, or at least manage it. For example, this is about nutrition. I don't say diet anymore when I'm referring to eating. I say nutrition, because it gets rid of this idea of restriction and of not nourishing your body. It kind of gives you a more positive way of looking at it. So that's an example of using different language. You want to also choose a frequency that's right for you. You might see your favorite Instagram influencer online doing it 6 days a week, one rest day, and they're killing it at the gym 6 days a week. Well, if that is something that you've tried, or you've looked at and said, no way, or you've tried it and it just hasn't worked for you, then don't do it. Find a frequency that works for you. Like, try going 2 days a week. And if you can, bump it up to 3. I don't think anyone needs to go over 3 days a week, quite honestly. I think 3 days is enough to get the benefits that you want. And then also make sure that you're doing it for the length that is right for you. I often have people start, if they're new to exercise, I have them start with 5 minutes if they're really not used to doing it. And then we incrementally bump it up so that they don't even notice until we get to at least half an hour. If they want to go beyond half an hour, great. But half an hour is where I usually sit people, because that's about the patience that people have for this type of thing. And that's fine with me. And that should be you. If you feel like that's not perfect for you, then change your idea of what perfect should look like, because then it will help you also build a routine that is perfect for you. So that's a really important thing to do. And if you work with a trainer, you can tell them, hey, make a program for me, make workouts for me, but I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. I'm going to do as much as I can in 10 minutes, and then I'm going to call it a day, and then just build up until you are able to do the whole workout that they write you. Set that timer, make sure your brain understands it's only going to be for this amount of time. Playing tricks on your mind is so important when you're getting into a fitness routine, because if you're looking at your whole workout and going, oh my God, that's going to take forever, looking at the list of exercises that you have, okay, well then it probably will if you look at it that way. But also, if it's overwhelming, if you just tell your mind, we're only going to do 10 minutes, it'll be, okay, I could probably do that. And then before you know it, you've got 10 minutes of working out down. And then, do that for a month or 2 weeks or whatever you feel. When you're ready to add minutes, you can add 2 minutes, you can add 5 more minutes, whatever works for you until you get to that 30-minute mark.
Yeah, the time frame is, like you said, that was great, because it doesn't always mean 5 days a week, 3 days a week. Like if you say I'm going to work out 120 minutes a week, like you could pick them all to be for 6 days, or you can pick them to be 3 days worth. It can be. It just is a matter of setting a goal of a certain thing and then figuring out, can I do Tuesdays are terrible for me, so I'm going to only work out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and find a schedule that works for you.
Yeah, and not only that, if you want to get 120 minutes in, which is important to do, you don't have to get it all in your 3 days of working out. You can also turn it into, okay, so half an hour on Monday, I'm going to go for a fun walk with my kids or my dog on Tuesday. Wednesday's the gym or whatever your prescribed movement time is. Thursday will be something else. Maybe you like to rock climb, or you like to go swimming, something that's fun. It doesn't have to look like what you see online or on TV. It does not exercise does not have to look like that. It just has to be you moving your body. The times when you're working on sensitizing your insulin, your muscles to insulin and all that, will be those 3 days a week that you go. But the other days are just simply to keep yourself moving. So it doesn't always have to be you don't have to cram it all in those 3 days. That can be quite stressful. And then the other thing too is, yes, we're talking about mindset, but paying attention to when mindset is negatively impacting your whole outlook. So I have a list of things that signs that movement might be stressing you out. So it can be things like it hurts during and after. So like if you're in pain, like not muscular pain as in like you're starting to feel the burn, like that's fine, that's normal. But like joint pain, pinched nerves, sharp pains in your muscles, joints, tendons, organs, those things need to be listened to, because that's sending stress signals to your brain and not going to help you in the long run. It could even lead to chronic injury eventually. So you want to make sure that you're really paying attention to those cues. Another sign that your movement is stressing you out is you dread doing it, which we've said earlier, and you're coming up with all sorts of excuses. Look, life is already full of things that we don't want to do. Let's not make movement another thing in your life that you don't want to do.
True.
Yeah. So find something that brings you joy, and really figure out why you're doing it. Your why is so important, and I'm going to get to that more later. And then also another sign is you can't physically do it yet. If you're choosing something like handstand push-ups, Don't do those. If that's going to stress you out that you can't do them. And then you're also going to feel horrible about yourself because you're like, dang it, that's my first day working out and I can't even do a handstand push-up.
You might hurt yourself too.
Yeah, then you're going to go home and be like, oh man, I really suck at everything. And that's just going to stress you out. So don't choose exercises that are great for where you are right now in your life. And you can work up to that handstand push-up. There's always time to work up to it if that's really what you want in your life. Also, if you feel like unfulfilled afterwards, if you leave the session, I got to this point in my life where working out wasn't feeling fulfilling anymore. I felt like just a void. So if you start to feel like there's a void afterwards, then it's time to reevaluate. Figure out if you need to decrease the amount of time you're doing it. Figure out if you need to change the type of movement. Figure out if you really are dreading it before and after. Like really look at those signs. And then the other thing is like, are there like 1 million places you'd rather be than working out? Like you'd rather be cleaning the litter box type deal. If that's the case, it's stressing you out. So those are some really important ways to pay attention to your mindset around working out. And then the other thing is time management and movement. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't have time. I've got children. I've got, work. I work 2 jobs, this, that, and the next thing. Well, you can always find a way to involve your children. If you like to weight lift, you can lift your children and they will love it. You can also teach them new moves. They also love that. I have a friend who was teaching his son how to do push-ups, and it was the cutest thing in the world. So you can always find ways to incorporate your kids. Go to the park, there's awesome equipment over at the park that you can use to work out with. And they can also join you in it and find fun ways to. It's also really great when kids see you doing that and you teach them, because you're giving them a positive relationship with fitness and avoiding the ditch that we all ended up in with our parents and working out, which was seeing them work out and they were doing it because they wanted to lose weight or build muscle, and it wasn't really a positive thing for them. So if you're creating a positive relationship with movement yourself, your kids are going to see that and hopefully bring that into their life as well. You can also do small 10-minute increments throughout the day. Have a pre-written routine that you do for 5. You can do like 2 sets for 10 minutes and then set it aside. It's just simply getting up from your desk. Maybe you have some exercise bands. Maybe you don't have to, but that's a really great way. And then you just do that 3 times throughout the day. Super low key, but you're still getting your movement in, which is awesome. Another thing is to find other ways to incorporate into your day. The classic park across the parking lot. So you have to walk further. I know that's so cliche, but it's also really good. Sometimes cliche things are really awesome.
Yeah, and it takes away that sort of concept of exercise, right? Because you're just going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You're just going to go do what your normal routine is. You just happen to make it your movement for the day, which is to park far away and get there, or to carry heavy bags and not use the cart and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then also if you work from home, I love this one. You can walk to work. So before you sit down at your desk, go for a 10-minute walk and then sit down at your desk. At the end of the day, before you walk to your living room, go outside, go for a 10-minute walk or however long you want to go. And that's basically walking to work. Don't let yourself sit down at the desk in the morning until that happens, and don't let yourself sit down on your couch until that happens. Use the stairs at work. I know people are like, well, I work on the 27th floor. Well, then go up a certain amount of stairs and then take the elevator. You don't have to go the whole way. Add a piece of exercise equipment to your desk job. You can add a stability ball as a seat. You can get under the desk cardio equipment like a mini treadmill, elliptical, cycling machine, or you could get a walking desk, which is essentially you're standing on a small treadmill. It doesn't go to running speed. It just goes at a walking pace and it has a little desk. They're really great for doing work at home, but that's a great way to get your steps in. So those are some ways to incorporate it into your life in a way that's not going to stress you out outside of if you can't get a regular routine in. And even if you can, these are still some awesome ways to get more movement in, because we are built to move, and we're not really built. Evolution hasn't caught up with the fact that we all sit around all day.
Yeah. No, I worked with a nurse on labor and delivery who would start every 4 hours for her 12-hour shift. She would stand. I'm not sorry, nurse secretary that would walk in place for 30 minutes. So she just stood up at the desk, walked in place for 30 minutes, and then she got to sit for a couple hours. And then she got up 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. She just walked in place. She's like, I'm getting my steps in. Yeah. She was like, I'm not going to, I sleep during the day. So this is the best way for me to do it. I'm too tired to go home and work out. So she just at work was like, I got to sit and answer the phone. I might as well just get up and do my steps for 30 minutes. Yeah. She lost like 60 pounds.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because she was, exercising. She was doing her steps every night, like doing it. So she did great.
That's amazing. And so if she can do it, anyone can. Yep. So creating exercise balance. I mean, we've talked about do what you feel you can and listen to your body. Very, very important. And also starting small. We talked about that. Starting with a few exercises, doing 10 minutes and adding time on. Really use that timer tool. Set that timer. Understand that you only have to do it for that amount of time. It really eases the mind and gives you a healthier understanding of what needs to get done as far as training goes or working out. One of the biggest things that I stress with my clients is, what is your why? And this is diving into the true mindset gold. Because if your why is, I want to lose weight, you're going to burn out really quickly, and you're not going to stick to a routine. Your why has to be something that doesn't have to do with changing anything. It needs to be something a little more substantial. Like, I want to be able to play with my kids in the yard, and I want to be around for my grandkids and be able to play with my grandkids. Or I really love to hike with my friends. I just want to be able to hike with my friends. Or I'm working on becoming a firefighter, and I need to be able to perform well for firefighting, that kind of thing. So it's important to have goals like that that inspire you, so that when you go to do your routine, you have a reason. And it's not just, I got to lose weight, because that's not inspiring. And most likely you will stick to your routine if you really dig deep and find that true reason why. And it might be hard at first because we have a lot of noise in our head about what society expects of us to be doing as far as for our bodies. But once, it might be worth it to sit down and journal or draw. I like to, with my clients, I call them processing moments, mind dumps. So whatever that looks like for you, journaling, drawing, recording yourself, talking, just to kind of figure out what that why is. Because we all have, unfortunately, we all have to move. We all have to have movement in our life in some way, shape, or form. So you have to find this why, this lasting why. A big way I like to do this, and this is the PDF that I think you're going to attach, right, Jen, to the presentation. I'm giving you guys a mindset check-in guide. Basically, what I do with my clients, it's a subtle way to adjust their minds from, I need to lose weight, I look horrible, this is the only reason I'm working out. It subtly shifts them over to, I move to take care of myself. I move because I want to reach this specific thing, like hiking with my friends. This is why I'm moving, and it creates inspiration to move forward with it. So basically you have 5 questions or 5 prompts, I should say. The first one is, you pick something you love about yourself. We often walk into our routines, into our sessions going, I'm going to go fix this. I don't like this about myself. Well, we are not going to do that here. We're going to pick something we love about ourselves. It can be physical, it can be a virtue, whatever it is that you love about yourself. And then the next thing is we check in with how we feel. So you don't have to do anything about it. You're just kind of assessing, okay, where am I right now? Am I frustrated? Am I tired? Am I excited to do this workout? Then you do a long-term goal check-in, which I like to say, sometimes I say goal, sometimes I say direction. Goal can be kind of triggering for people because they don't quite understand. Like, goal can be a lot of pressure.
Mhm.
So moving in what direction are you moving in can be, take that pressure off to have something that you're striving for that seems impossible. Moving in a direction is like, okay, I can just kind of ease my way over here. So that will probably be the same answer every single time you check in. So for example, I want to hike with my friends is one of your long-term goals. This long-term goal cannot have anything to do with changing your body physically, whether that's growing muscle or losing weight, um, or even developing better endurance. Like, no numbers here. So
Mhm.
yeah, those are very important to set before this moment. This moment is not about figuring those out, because we talk about those in depth before. So your long-term goal for why you're working out for yourself, and then you check in with your short-term goal, which this can be the same every session, or it can be different. But like, this kind of thing can be like, I want to be present with my breath, or I have something going on at work that I need to work through, or I really want to see how far I can push myself today through certain, if you 10 push-ups is hard for you, can I do 11? And where will I go mentally for that? Can I do this? That kind of number is okay. It's like the weight loss stuff, and lifting X amount of weight. But just seeing how far you can push yourself mentally is a great short-term goal. And then you leave this with one more thing that you love about yourself, because you might have forgotten that you love yourself from earlier before. So,
Just bring it back, right?
Yeah, exactly. Always bring it back. So we do one more. What do you love about yourself? And then we go and do the workout. And you can, if you're you can record it, you can journal it, or you can just do it all in your head. For me, when I'm in a session with a client, sometimes we do check-ins, sometimes we don't. I kind of assess where they are. Do they need it? Do they not? Or they seem like they're in a good place right now? I prescribe it as needed, but sometimes the client shares with me what they're thinking, and most of the time they just keep it to themselves. There's no pressure to impress me in any way, shape, or form. And there's no pressure to, when you're by yourself, to impress anybody. So
Mhm.
this kind of thing. And then we do a checkout where we kind of check in. You pick something you love about yourself again. You check in with how you're feeling, assess it from before, or is it different? We're all about immediate results in fitness. We want to go look in the mirror after our workout and be like, how do I look? Do I look different? That I satisfied that urge with checking in with how you're feeling from before. That's your immediate result, because most likely you will feel better. And that is what we want to walk away from the workout feeling, is just better. And so then we also look at our long-term goal. Did we get closer to that? Short-term goal, did we get there? Did we not? No big deal if we didn't. There's no reason to put any pressure on ourselves for not making it. And then we leave picking one more thing we love about ourselves, because we want to love ourselves.
Yeah, no, I think what you said, that's really important too, because I often say to people, like, the worst thing you can do is like work out and go straight to the scale, right? And say,
Right.
okay, does it correlate to what I thought I was doing? Like, the best thing you can do is say, man, that felt good. I should do that again. Like, and that's basically what you're saying, is take your mindset to be that the way you feel after it is way more important than an objective number, a
Yes.
weight, or
Yeah.
like getting the skinny jeans on, or like what is it how do you feel after you do it?
Yeah. And guess what? If you sit in the positiveness and carry that positive with you from the workout, it's going to benefit your PCOS. If
Mhm.
you walk away beating yourself up for all the things you didn't accomplish, it's going to negatively impact your PCOS, because you're sending stress signals throughout your body when you do that. It is paramount to your health to walk away from a workout, leave it where it is. And when I say workout, I don't mean like, yeah, gym time. I mean, whatever that looks like for you, a walk, you know, swimming, whatever. These are the two things apparently that I can only think of outside of the gym right now, but there are more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really paramount to your health and your stress to walk away basking in the glow of the endorphins that you've just released, and then and leaving the session where it is. Don't dwell on it. Then what I mean by that is don't question, did I do this right? Did I do enough? It wasn't enough, that kind of thing. It was enough. You did it. And you're beautiful and wonderful for doing it.
Yeah, that's so important too, because sometimes people compare, like, well, my friend goes for a walk and does 6 laps around the track and I only do 4. Like, so you're not leaving the workout where it is. You're continuing to ruminate on the fact that it's, you know, could you have done more? And maybe tomorrow I should do 2 extra laps. And but if you truly like left it where it is, you would be like, dude, I did great today. Like if your friends, how did it go? You're like, fabulous.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of I did 4 laps. Like the mindset shift makes you change the way that you respond to those questions too, because you'll be about making sure that you think to yourself, this is positive and I've done it. I did great. I feel good. I'm so glad I went, as opposed to like that we're always sort of wired to say, I only did 4 laps today. How'd you do? You know, like as a, you know, we're sort of wired to like think is negative like that. And we just don't have that sort of mindset, in that whatever it was is good enough and it's okay.
Yeah. Reframing, changing that language so that it's feeding you instead of sucking the energy away from you. And I think it's so common in our world, in our society, to have a narrative that sucks the energy from us, instead of being like, wow, yeah, I did do that, and that's pretty awesome. You know, and we always, there's another narrative out there, be better than you were yesterday. I don't even like that. It's like, be what you can be today. That's really the important thing. Being better than you were yesterday is for those competitive athletes, and we're not competitive athletes. We're just people. Be what you can today.
Too much pressure.
Right, exactly. And I like to move the focus away from the direction of results and more towards the direction of daily care and a practice, because constantly going for results is not a practice. If you think about people who are expert, you know, professional pianists, they didn't move towards the direction of a result. They just practiced every day to get to where they are, and they still practice to this day. There is no end result. And that's the same thing with movement. It's just a practice to take care of yourself. And I think it's really important to just, because once you get to that result that you were looking for, there'll be another one. And there will be another one, and you will never ever reach that gold bucket at the end of the rainbow. You know, it'll always be further and further away from you, and you might as well just stop trying to reach for it and just pay attention to you in the moment.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, and like, you want to just continue to cultivate a mind that can tackle each day, as well as tackle some milestone hurdles, you know, like hurdles that have always been there for you and you finally tackle them and it's huge for you. That this kind of thing will help you in that and help you kind of figure that out for yourself. Your fitness sessions should be a safe haven for you. It's not a time to think about what the world thinks about your body or even what you think about your body. It's just a time to be like safe, and creating that safe energy wherever you do your movement sessions. That's what these mindset check-ins are for. I developed them when I realized that my workout space was not safe for me mentally, because I would walk in there and instantly feel this feeling of negativity and judgment. And I realized, this is all me. I have to come here and make this a safe place. Make sure I associate it with positive thoughts instead of negative thoughts. So the more you work to change your mindset in your movement space, the more your mind is going to start associating it with more positive things. Now I go to the gym and I love it because I've started to associate it with things that make me happy instead of all this negativity. So that's really important. And do not start a fitness routine that's inspired by insecurities. And I know that's really hard to do because we're constantly being fed, from all the things that's wrong with us, and eating into our insecurities and making sure that, oh, you better start doing this because this is what's wrong with you. If you're having a hard time starting for any other reason, then start, but work on it as you're doing it. Don't wait for that magical day I'm no longer insecure. I know I'm coming from a secure place now. Just start, and then you can work on it as you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that is mindset and fitness. And the takeaways that I would say that you can go away with is movement plays a fundamental role in your PCOS, as well as other physical and mental health aspects. Be aware that it can have negative impacts as well. Be sure to create a balance. And also, it's important to choose movement and a frequency that's right for you. Pay attention to your mindset, and there is always a way to fit in movement. You can get really creative. And the ability to stick to a routine has everything to do with your why and thoughts about your body image.
I love it. That was fantastic. It was great. I mean, there's so many just great little wisdom lines that you had there that are just so important for people just to literally just sink into what you just said about how important it is to use that to make the right exercise plan or the right movement plan for you. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. And again, Emma can be found at Mind Motion PCOS on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then her website as well. But there's a link on the Instagram to go straight to your site. So that's probably the best way for people to view you and see your good posts about what different workouts too.
Yeah, and you can get in touch with me through Instagram and set up for consultations through there as well.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, cool.
Well, thank you.
This was great.
Yeah, thank you so much. And please contact her for any questions you guys have about specific plans or how she can help you, since she does certified personal training and can set up a routine for you. So
yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.